breakfast out here. Now you might notice we feed them up in the tree lines. They've kind of depleted our trees that we normally have out here, and then we kind of pamper our animals just a little bit. So we want to make sure they're getting their proper nutrition. So we do feed them up in the tree line, makes them a little bit more comfortable so they're not constantly craning their necks. We are the tallest land mammals in the world, getting anywhere from 18 to 20 feet tall. Now we can tell the Maasai giraffe in particular because of the shape of their spots. Notice they're very feathered out and there's a lot more space in between each of them. Whereas reticulated giraffes, that'll kind of be the opposite. Also, Maasai giraffe are a little bit on the smaller side of the giraffe species, so usually only get about 18 to 19 feet tall. Now giraffes will do just about everything standing. That's why we do feed them up in the tree line. Actually they'll fall asleep standing up. Don't need a ton of sleep though, only need about 30 minutes or so a day. And they'll do so in 1 to 2 minute increments at a time. So if you're ever seeing a giraffe not doing anything for a minute or so, they're usually taking a little nap. Yep, we got that very long tongue. It's about another 18 inches or so to reach all the way up in the tree line. It's pretty impressive there. You can see a couple of our predators up on the left-hand side. Looks like they're taking a nap at the moment. Well, there's one African wild dog. Now they're also known as painted dogs with a painted look on their coats. So they're very unique. Usually you can tell each other apart by those coats. Now these are some of the most efficient hunters in all of Africa, even better than the African lion. They have an 85% success rate hunting their prey to exhaustion just by chasing it down. They can usually find each other's body language and understand that pretty well. So once one dog starts getting tired, another one will take over and they'll just keep switching off. Looks like we got quite a few of our giraffe up here. They're kind of the centers of the animal kingdom, so we do see this one looking into our wild dog area. They're constantly looking around for anything that could be potentially dangerous. And if they do need to get away, they can run at a top speed about 30 miles an hour. It's not incredibly fast, but a lot faster than our truck can really go right this moment. We are passing by a couple of big termite mounds here on the right and the left-hand side. The one on the left they've been working on for quite a while. They're just made out of termite saliva, dirt, and dung, courtesy of our termites. They sound pretty gross, but a lot of animals will use them as scratching posts. Really can't itch that scratches by themselves. Now, if you're looking for baby animals out here, we definitely got you covered. We have a baby Maasai giraffe here on our right-hand side. Now, this little baby is about almost 2.5 months old. This is Humphrey. You can see babies are about 6 feet tall. There's a couple of juveniles right next to them. They're about 2 years old, so it takes a little bit of time to get that height in there. Now, when he was born with his mother standing up. They got a pretty big drop into this world, but within that first hour of being born, giraffes can usually stand and walk with the rest of the herd. It's known as a tower. That kind of ensures their safety. If they can walk with the rest of the herd, they can get away from anything that could be potentially dangerous. Everyone seems like they're spread out this morning. I'm not seeing too much at the moment over this way. We're going to continue on forward. I do see some of our smaller antelope species just on the horizon up here. Now you might notice there's some other trucks out here, little golf carts of sorts. Those are our animal care guides. They're taking care of all of our animals out here, big and small. We also have a couple of white-bearded wildebeest on our right-hand side. Now we have a pretty small herd here, only about 20 or so. In the wild, the herds can get much larger, about 800 to 1,000 in a typical herd. So they live in some of the more densely packed groups of any other mammal in the world. Also have our springbok here. They're a very small antelope species. They get their name springbok from their ability to spring up to 6 feet straight into the air. Probably hop over little Humphrey back there. Now if they do that again and again, it's a process known as pronking. It's a pretty funny word. It's usually when they're very excited about something, they'll go pronking around the savannah, or they can be frightened, usually stirred up by our wildebeest stampede. Now, wildebeest are very skittish animals, so we can get a little close to them, but you don't want to spook them at all, or else they'll kind of flail across the savannah. Not the safest thing to be in. If you've ever seen The Lion King, you probably know that. But usually our animals are pretty docile out here. Everyone gets along for the most part. I'm gonna see. Oh, looks like we got a mandrill on our left-hand side. Now the mandrills are the largest of the monkey species. We usually have troops of about 100 or so. The males usually have those bright red and blue faces. They'll get brighter the more excited they get. This big guy up here, this is Linus. It looks like a Vicky.
The one in Lion King.
It's a sign of they're very social animals, so they'll actually smile at one another, show those big canines. Looks like we do have an African elephant on our right hand side as well. This looks like it's probably a male. Male African elephants will typically go off on their own once they reach maturity, but they can make herds of other males. That's known as a bachelor herd. Elephants are anywhere from 5,000 to 14,000 pounds. Quite a lot of weight out there. And they eat about 5 to 7% of their body weight in hay and vegetation a day. And as you can see, they're pretty dexterous with those trunks. They have over 10,000 separate muscles in those trunks, so they're pretty articulated. So they'll eat about 300 to 400 pounds of food a day. Imagine what we go through for a whole herd. I know our female herd, we have about 6 or 7 of them out here somewhere. And hopefully we can catch a glimpse of them. Now, elephants are actually very intelligent animals. You probably heard the term, an elephant never forgets. That's pretty true. Well, in fact, all our elephants on our reserve, they know their names. So I tell you all of them, but they can probably hear me over the microphone. As you can probably see, they have very big ears. And as cool as that would be to have a 14,000-pound elephant come up right into the truck, not sure how we can get them away from the truck. But it is pretty cool to see these gentle giants in action. Now, in the wild, they can be pretty intelligent. They know pretty much where they're supposed to be and when they're not supposed to be. In fact, they know what they like, what they don't like. These guys are afraid of something very small. They're afraid of bees. Now, it's actually helped us to our advantage out here. In the wild, they end up putting up beehives or bee fences in certain areas, like around farmers' crops, and it keeps them out of those areas. We have a better relationship with our elephants out here. Now, these are a bunch of our females. The females will stay together the majority of their lives. This is our entire female part of the family. The matriarch is one of the elder females of the group, and it'll be all her daughters, so on and so forth. And all the cows will usually stay around there until the males get to maturity. Now you might notice our elephants can be pretty dirty, look kind of dirty right up on their backs. They've actually tossed sand, dirt up on their backs, whatever they can. They need an extra layer of protection as they can get sunburned if they're not careful enough. So even elephants have to wear their sunscreen. Now that's not something we taught them, that's something that they know all up on their own. Like I said, very intelligent animals. But that also means we have to keep them quite busy or else they can be escape artists, or at least attempt to be. Looks like Luna's getting a drink up here. Let's go see if we can catch her up. Like I said, about 10,000 muscles in those trunks. They can hold over 12 liters of water in those trunks. Now that water can't go straight into their bodies. They actually have to spray it into their mouths or on their backs, wherever it's going to go. It's entirely up to them. I'm going to look straight back for her. She's getting a little drink of water. You also see some very large baobab trees out here. Mouse humans are some of their biggest predators out here. We mine their territories for coltan, which is important in some of our smaller electronic devices, but it's also more important to take care of their habitats, whereas they might not have them for very much longer. Same with our flamingos here. Now these are greater flamingos. We need to protect their habitats because other animals will tend to come by the watering holes and such where they like to live. And if they start drinking polluted water or something wrong with the water, it could be very dangerous for our flamingos as well as elephants or any animal out there. Now flamingos aren't born this pink color, actually they're born a charcoal gray. Look at this pink color from the brine shrimp that they eat. Brine shrimp contains beta carotene, and with enough of it, the feathers will literally turn pink just like the shrimp they eat. Now, flamingos aren't born this pink color. Actually, they're born a charcoal gray. Look at this pink color from the brine shrimp that they eat. Brine shrimp contains beta carotene, and with enough of it, the feathers will literally turn pink just like the shrimp they eat. looks like we got a rhino crash.